Hello, everybody. Welcome to Baja Choice Product Reviews podcast. Got a special guest with us today. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. I do these podcasts and I do product reviews. I have a few sites. There's my contact information there. I have my website. It's Baja Troy Product Reviews. You can catch me on Facebook too at Baja Troy Reviews. TikTok, same thing, Baja Troy Reviews. And my Instagram is Baja Troy Reviews also too. So my goal is to introduce people to the great outdoors and talk about the products and find products out there that are going to fit what we're doing, that we don't got to sell the kitchen sink to get into. So we can get into under cost and usable, and then share a lot of the information from a lot of other people that are outdoors, so we don't got to learn ourselves. We can pass that information down and not make the same mistakes that other people make. So given that, let's go ahead and bring our guest up. He's Roy, and Roy is with Whispering Bowstrings.
What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys having me in here today. I appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity to come on here and talk some stuff about archery. So, if you wouldn't mind, do you want me to go ahead and start off the introduction, or do you want to go ahead and take it from here?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go ahead and just briefly maybe explain what got you into it and a little bit of your background.
So I've been in archery for about 20 years now. I started off around 10 years old. I was fascinated with Lord of the Rings. It was a fantastic movie, and I was like, man, I got to go shoot a bow like those elves, man. I've got to do that. And one thing led to another. My grandmother gifted me my first bow at Christmas, and it took off from there. And it's been fantastic. It's shown me a lot of great things. It's helped me meet a lot of great people and taken me to a lot of great places. And it's absolutely amazing, because you'd think with archery, it's pretty limited on, what you can do or who can participate, but it's absolutely not the case, because there's so many people out there that can get into archery without even realizing that they're a perfect fit. Even if you're, someone with a disability or someone that, has struggles, just like the majority of us do. There's ways to get into archery no matter what. And it's a very welcoming sport. It doesn't matter where you come from or what you look like or anything like that. Archery's for everybody. It's absolutely amazing.
You guys, I spend a lot of times outdoors, and I run across a lot of wow, I wish I had someone to teach me this or talk about this, or you see other people out there enjoying themselves. Wow, I wish I could get into that. This is a great opportunity for you guys to come in and learn from the pros, the guys that are out there. I was out there looking for some talent, and I ran into the modern day Robin Hood here, and I said, I got to have this guy on. This guy, he is a plethora of information. And he has his own site too, so you guys can always refer to that. I got some of his information up there right there. His website's Whispering Bow Strings, and he does some great stuff on TikTok. Great tutorials that are just amazing, and it's a plethora of information. So, like I said, this guy is a modern day Robin Hood.
Yeah, man, it's really important in my mind to share as much as I can with everybody, just because that's the only way that we're going to grow this sport, and that's what we're looking for right now is growth. And the only way we can do it is by free sharing this information out there as easily, accessible. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter. Whatever social media you're on, we're trying to put out everywhere that we can so that more people can get into archery an easy way, for sure.
So why don't you take a little bit of time and talk to the guest about, how to get into it? What are the basics? Where should you start? Somebody that's never done it before, a youngster, somebody's got to, maybe save up their allowance.
Yeah.
To buy something more. Where do you start?
So for me, a lot of things there's two alleyways that you can go down. If you're going into it to do hunting, there's one alley, and for target archery, there's another. You can blend them all the way. But overall basics, try to figure out what you're wanting to do first, whether it's target archery or bow hunting, right? And from there, if you're looking to do it within a certain time frame, so if you're it's July and deer season starts September, all right, I'm not going to advocate you as a new bow hunter to go out there and try to learn how to shoot a recurve to go bow hunt. It's going to take a lot more time than that. You'd probably have better results with a compound and even better results with a crossbow, right? So there's an avenue that we can go down with that. And with target archery, it's just going to be a preference of what you're wanting to shoot, whether it's a recurve, a longbow, compound, crossbow, whatever it is. It's just going to be a preference of whatever you're going to want to use. And you're going to have to spend time with that particular item in order to get good with it. All right. It's not going to happen overnight. Either way, it's not going to happen overnight. But getting into a bow accurately, quickly, a compound is pretty easy for majority of guys. And I hate saying it, but king is a crossbow because pretty much anyone can sight it in and anyone can use it. Now there is a lot of discrepancy of, using crossbows for hunting and what season it should be in. That's a whole nother subject we can go down, and really not necessary. But you need to figure out what type of archery you're wanting to do, whether it's bow hunting or recreational archery, shooting tournaments and stuff like that. And I know you heard me hit on a couple different items there, but you typically have recurves and longbows as your traditional bows. Barebow kind of follows into that category as well. You have compounds, which are your vertical bows that you're holding up, and then you have your crossbows, which are your horizontals that have a stock on it, very similar to a rifle. Out of those, it's going to be your personal preference to go after whichever. If you're shooting a bow, you're definitely going to need some essential gear, some PPE to keep yourself safe. Obviously, you're going to need your bow and you're going to need adequate arrows. You're also going to need some type of arm guard if you're shooting a vertical bow, such as a recurve longbow or a compound. It's not necessary if you have the right coach from the get-go, but it is ideal to keep you from getting hurt. That string burn on your wrist here, when that string slaps, is not fun, and it protects you from that. You're also going to be looking into getting some type of finger protection for your shooting hand. As a right-handed shooter, I hold my bow with the left hand, pull back with my right. So I have to have finger protection for my right hand. You can do that with several different types of, if you're shooting a traditional longbow, recurve, barebow, you're using your fingers. You can shoot split finger 3-under, or you can shoot with your thumb. Joel Turner does a lot of that. You guys should definitely check him out if you're looking into shooting a thumb. That's pretty cool. If you're shooting a compound, typically you're going to have a multitude of releases to choose from, but there's two basics. You got a handheld release and you have a wrist strap release. Wrist straps can be cumbersome. They have their disadvantages. So do handhelds. If you drop it, it's gone. So there's some things to consider about those whenever you're using them. And of course, some type of quiver to constantly keep up with your arrows, right? That's another thing that you're going to need, is something to hold your arrows. A lot of people throw them onto the ground. They'll just like such. It's not really ideal to have to bend down and get an arrow every single time. So a quiver is ideal. And there's going to be a big thing too, whenever you get into a bow, is getting a bow that is fit for you. Ideal sizes, draw lengths, draw weight. You don't want to get into a bow that is too long of a draw length for you, that's way too heavy, because you're going to struggle to pull it back, and then it lands back here and you're trying to look through the peep or something like that. It's just not fun. So make sure you go down to your local archery shop. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with buying anything on TikTok or Amazon if you are an experienced archer, right? Because usually you know what you're looking for. But if you're a new person, don't go to TikTok. Don't go to Amazon for anything. Go to a local pro shop. They're relying on you to walk through that door to come by and learn from them. So go to them. They definitely need it, and they can usually point you in the right direction. If not, there's online sources like mine that will point you in the right direction.
So basically, what you're saying, don't shop around until you actually know what you're looking for. I mean, if you shop around and looking for price, you're going to hurt yourself in the end by having the wrong product. It's like, I can't order clothes online. I got to try them on.
Well, here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is San Lita is a very prominent online selling bow. Whatever model it is, San Lita sells a lot of them online to a lot of new introductory level archers. What they fail to realize is no shop's going to work on that bow. Reason being, manuals aren't really that great. They're very vague. They don't really align with the bow very well. And usually it's a bunch of hassle to work on the bow that's very subpar that not a lot of people actually want to, shoot. So there's no real support for those bows. You can't get parts for them. No dealer wants to touch them. No real bow shop wants to work on them. Like, there's something that you would want to stay away from with those entry level compounds. I know they're great prices, but there is a downside to them, right? And usually it's, you don't get the service, you don't get the support, what you actually need as a beginning archer. And usually whenever you buy a kit from an archery shop, usually it comes along with some basic instruction and a lot of information.
Okay, I got a couple questions for you. First off,
yeah,
you sent me some pictures, and I want to bring this up, but I also want to ask you some stuff about places to shoot and how to get into it. But I got to bring this picture up because it's pretty cool. This is a good one. Who's this little guy?
That is my oldest boy, Avon. He is probably right around almost 2 years old at that time, and that's his first bow. I actually made some arrows out of some shish kebab skewers, bamboo skewers, and I flexed them up for him, and he took off with it immediately. He absolutely loves shooting a bow. That is.
Looks like you're shooting in your backyard.
That's in my front yard. I got the chicken coop in the background. I got a chicken run in the front yard to move around. It's a lot more flat out there, so that's usually where we hang out the most. The backyard is still undeveloped from the pool that we had to rip out when we moved in. The insurance company wouldn't insure us with that old pool, so we had to tear it down, and it's pretty much just grass and unlevel, so we stick to the front yard.
So you're out. I know where you're at. You're there in the sticks, but and I'm shooting from undisclosed location in Troyland. But for the people, the city folk, the Flatlanders, what should they do? I've been in a lot of bow places, and they got ranges indoors, and they got some parks around here that got outdoors. But talk about locations.
Yeah, man. So it's going to vary from location to location, right? I wish everyone had a standard middle of the run experience to be able to get into archery, but unfortunately, because of some states and fundings and stuff like that, it doesn't happen. You did mention, a lot of archery shops are going to have a indoor range for you to be able to try out bows, shoot bows, or be able to come in and practice. Right? There's some ranges like the one that I built here in Chatham County that it has a early and late access key fob. So all you got to do is just like a gym membership. You scan the door, you walk in, closes in behind you, and you're locked. So no one can come bum rush you. So there's shops out there that have the ability to practice on a daily basis. If you don't have a shop that's readily available, try to find a government funded or a local archery park that allows you to come out there free of charge and be able to practice. Those are few and far between. There are some on the East Coast. I know in Washington, D.C., there's a couple. And there's a couple, if I'm not mistaken, down towards Florida. And there's a very few amount. But if you go to the West Coast, all of a sudden, you have archery park galore. There's archery parks up and down the East Coast, from Oregon, California, you name it. There's tons of them, right? And if you're in the Middle West, you're kind of on your own, but you have a lot of land opportunity to be able to go out and shoot, right? If not, I'm pretty sure you know somebody with a farm. You can go ask them, hey, can I come practice out here? All right. But finding a safe space is very, critical whenever it comes down to shooting. Usually clubs, I skipped over clubs. I apologize. There's a lot of archery clubs out there as well. They're independent, not really companies, because they're not looking to turn profits unless they're trying to build a huge infrastructure. But usually they're pretty easy to spot, and those guys run it like a business, and they do well, but they do charge you for it, right? There's a membership associated with it. There's some type of fee. There's some type of work requirement to go with it, because not only do you have a archery club, right? That archery club's more than likely associated with some type of coalition. They hold monthly shoots, and they expect you to come help set up, tear down, all that good stuff, right? They need you guys for that, right? So there is some work required whenever you go into a club, all right? Now, if you don't have those abilities, right, there's several different ways that you can get around to shooting or practicing with your bow. If you're in an apartment complex, you're kind of limited, unfortunately. But if you have the ability to, and permission from, your significant other, that you can shoot, in your apartment, you can set up a 10-yard target inside your apartment and shoot safely. But it's limited. Not a lot of people like shooting that close. It's really good for when you're wanting to make these form changes, or if you're working on something or making changes to your equipment. It's really nice to shoot up close so you don't have to worry about missing. But it does get monotonous after a certain amount of time. Now, if you have, say, for instance, you're still inside city limits, you have to check your local ordinances, right? That's a big thing. Check your local ordinances, see if you can even have an archery range within city limits. You have to be careful with where you live too and whatnot. If you can't do a range in your backyard, don't do a range in your backyard, because someone's going to call and you're going to get in trouble. Now, if you're out, if you're in a city that doesn't have any restrictions, build your archery range in the backyard, do it safely, right? Horse stall mats. They're 2.5 inch thick rubber mats. Hang them behind your target. It's not going to go through, right? Keep it safe. Don't shoot in the direction of your neighbor's house or the open road or something like that, because God forbid something happens and you got an accident. If you're out on your own property and you have acreage, I would be very aware of where I'm shooting. Obviously, I wouldn't shoot in the general direction of other people's houses or where they live, because all it takes is someone sky drawing a bow because it's too heavy, or something happens, a D-loop breaks, or they skip off of the back of a target and the arrow goes flying through the air,
So some of the things to check into are local parks that have archery ranges, clubs. Sounds like a great outlet right there, and a local shop. That way you get to meet somebody that's close. They're close to you. They're close to the advice. They size you up properly. You're not buying offline. You're not getting a surprise in the mail. So, yeah. Then you get that one-on-one. They can fit all your gear to you, is what you're saying, right? So,
those guys can really take care of you in those senses. That those guys do it day in and day out. You should definitely look into those shops and supporting those shops. They need your help. They need your support. Now, there are some shops that are a little bit more expensive than others, but that's just the name of the game, unfortunately.
Now, you touched a little bit on safety earlier. Let's talk about some of the injuries and things you can look out for, and then some of the safety gear. You talked about PPE, your safety glasses, and your guards. What else do we have?
So you don't really need safety glasses. A lot of people will shoot it if they've had a bad experience in the past. I don't really see a necessity to it. I also wear glasses, so I don't really want to put another layer on top of those to skew my vision. But definitely want to do something for your fingers on the PPE, shooting protection on your fingers, shooting a recurve longbow, because you're going to have nerve damage, and nerve damage will end your archery pretty quick because you can't hold on to anything. And of course, an arm guard, just so that you don't get shy of your bow going off and it coming to closure and scrubbing your arm. It's nice to have that arm guard there to take in that impact so your arm doesn't and your skin get tore up.
So going back to get the a local shop, or when you're sizing your gear up for you, lessons.
Yeah.
Recommend lessons. And
yes. So that's another thing, is that you definitely need to look into getting lessons. I recommend, if your local shop has a certified coach, go with that certified coach. If not, find one near you if you can't. There's multitudes of level 1 and 2 archery coaches out there for USA Archery. They're all over the place. Usually those are great for the introductory to archery. But if you're really trying to, hone in your skills, per se, I would definitely look into trying to find a level 3, level 4 coach, because they're going to have the ability to get you into the right positions and being able to, describe these things to you in a better understanding than a level 1 or 2 can, right? There's a reason why they got separated out based on levels. But level 1, level 2, there's a bunch of them running around. They're more than willing to get anybody into archery. They love archery themselves just as much as I do. I just haven't had the time to get into USA Archery certifications, just because of my experience and everything I've learned. I'm already ahead of it, to be honest. I hate to say it that way.
Yeah, my buddy. Hey, can you explain this picture for me?
Yeah. So there I have Hector Leon. He is one of my pro staff. He is at an indoor tournament at Lancaster Classic up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Happens every January. It's one of the biggest indoor shoots out there. And my God, my first time I went there, I've never been in a room to where it was so deafening loud just from the amount of arrows impacting the target. It's absolutely insane. It's one of the coolest experiences I think I've ever had is when I walked into the auditorium at the Spooky Nook, and it's just arrows.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, because you have 1,000 going down each side shooting at once. So it's shot. It's constant. It's absolutely crazy.
I got another photo.
Yep. So that there is Alex. Alex actually landed on third place at Lancaster Stage for the barebow division. He's been instrumental to the start of my business and a lot of my testing that we broke into and started off with. And he's a great friend. He is definitely one fun person to be around. Every single time I see him, I group up with him and hang out because we're always going to have a great time.
These guys have like a mindset into it. Are they full time?
Oh yeah, Alex is serious. So on stage we have Alex on third position, and I'm going to Kent. I can't remember his last name in second position, and then we have Oliver. I'm gonna butcher this. It's Hawkenbolt, I think. He is actually from Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere over in that area in Europe.
Is that a certified archer name?
He's pretty much he's the top dog out there. Oliver is insane. He's a great guy too. But it shows you how big the Lancaster Classic is. It has the ability to pull people internationally to come compete, and we have a great time. It's fantastic. Like it's one of the best shoots that you could possibly ever attend.
So let's talk a little bit about the mindset and the direction and the different things that the sport has. I mean, you got the hunting, I'll let you explain that. Where do you go? Where's the direction you can go with archery?
So archery is going to teach you a lot of things. The biggest mindset that I've had to come, forward with and learn is to become very patient. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of trial and error. It's going to take a lot of effort, and you have to be mentally strong and understanding that you need to be patient, and having that patience will start building consistency, right? Consistency is the name of the game when it comes down to archery, doing it the same way every single time. That's how you get XXX every single time. Or, you shoot a 660 on a 300 round. It's being patient and understanding that it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, right? Consistency does not happen overnight. You might think you've had it one day, the next day you lose it, next day you find it again, the next day you lose it, right? So it takes a lot of mental fortitude to stay consistent in archery, right? And it's all about your mental mindset. Be patient with yourself. Be understanding that, this is your first time doing it too. You might have shot similar pressure situations with people watching you or a certain crowd, but each time is different, right? And we're gonna have to learn every single time we go into those situations.
I can see some parents saying, "Well, I don't want my kids getting into hunting and all that," but it's not just hunting. There's a whole lot more to it.
Oh yeah, it changes you mentally because you have to learn these things in order to progress. Like this is the only way that you're going to change, right? You have to change from within in order to get better. You can't keep changing stuff on the outside, such as your bow and your equipment. You can keep fiddling with it all day. It's not going to make you a better shooter, right? Shooting your bow, understanding the practice regimen, and the mental fortitude you have to have in order to be consistent is where it is going to change your life.
We don't want parents to think they're bringing their kids into a thing. They're going to have your son or daughter's going to be hanging out with little John walking around dressed as a Robin Hood all the time, So there's more to it than hunting. A lot of people don't want to harvest. I'm big into it. that's my
A
whole
lot of
thing.
people just don't like hunting, and I mean, it's whatever floats your boat. From a conservation standpoint, things have to be managed. If not, they get out of control. And when they get out of control, you have disease and issues and all kinds of other stuff. So somebody has to do their job in order to keep the ecosystem in check.
Yeah, I noticed that when I got my hunting license, I learned so much just from getting that license. Wow, there's a lot more to it. Not just a stamp going, okay, here you go. You know, there's a lot to why they do it, how they do it, the algorithms, the numbers, the head counts, and all that, and
absolutely,
it keeps everything in balance and keeps it disease free. And you know, a lot of fender benders get stopped, and you know, windshields get saved.
Yep, that's for sure. That is for sure.
Resources. We talked a little bit about that already. We'll just go through them real quick. YouTube, TikTok. We're on the good side of TikTok. TikTok's got like a little bit of a bad stigmatism about it, but we're on the good side of TikTok because there's so much information out there and so many great people in our area of TikTok. That makes it really fun. You know, you guys out there, I do a lot of the fishing stuff too. So I spent a half hour this morning, you know, teaching the guy online how to tie knots. So, and a lot of them are rescue knots, you know, like climber knots and stuff. So, for rappelling, so you can use them for fishing too. I got a couple quick questions. He's got a great website. It's really cool. Check it out.
Appreciate that.
I hope I don't catch you off guard, but this right here, this is a Flemish.
Yep.
Flemish twist.
Yep.
Can you explain that to me?
So, a Flemish twist is very popular when it comes down to traditional archery. A lot of reasons being is that it doesn't really require a lot of expensive jigs to be able to make something like this, right? There are some downsides to the style of string. However, it's very efficient for people to be able to make at home. Flemish twist is basically a lot of braiding. I actually have a sample here. I'll pull up and show you real quick. So this is what I typically start off with. I have loose strands here, right? And I have a set of forceps just to hold it in position for me. But all you have to do in order to create a string like that is you're going to do two things. This is opposing tension and direction, right? That's all this is. And this is where its downside is too, because if it loses tension, the direction unravels. So I usually start it off, I'm going to get it started on my knee here just to get some twist into the straight strands, right? So everything starts off straight strand, and I've added some twist here to this black one you can see, so it doesn't come unraveled like this one, right? So I'm going to add some more to this tan real quick. And all we're going to do is twist away from us, right? And fold towards us. Twist away, fold towards us. Twist away, fold towards us. That's all we're doing. So I'm taking this little bundle here, twisting it away from me, right? And gets it nice and tight. And then I fold it over towards myself. Same thing again. And you just keep repeating this process until you start forming your main loop of your bowstring, right? So this is a pretty simple way to build a string. You don't need any fancy jigs. You can cut it strand by strand to a certain length if you're looking to do a taper. I usually just do a 2-post system, so you can do nail to nail, wrap it, cut it, and taper it out by hand, right? So that's a whole nother subject we can get on, but you can see here, I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera.
Yeah, it's showing up pretty good.
We have now twisted and formed a loop, right? So all I have to do now in order to combine them is take my tag ends and blend them together. And I can do that real quick.
We're not giving up any secrets, are we?
No. Never. Nah, man, it's this is a pretty basic build. I do a little bit different in mine. That's what I believe makes mine just a little bit better than the majority of guys. So I'm going to show you what majority of people build. But we'll take our tag ends here, put them together, and keep on forming that same twist. We're going to twist away from us with one strand and then fold it over. And you'll see I know this is probably hard to see because it's really good to show in person, but I'm twisting away from us. Then I'm grabbing the bottom, folding it over, rinse and repeat, twist away, fold over, right? Twist away, fold over. Black's on top, black's going on bottom. Tan's on top, going bottom, right? So now you can see here, I have formed a loop and started the structure of a bowstring, right?
All in a couple minutes.
Oh yeah. Doesn't take long at all. Now, if you're doing endless loop style strings, which is like the sample here, so a little bit different style string. This takes a different type of build process. This is a lot more complicated to build, and that's what I actually originally started on when I started building strings. I took the most complicated challenge head on and figured it out pretty quick. A lot of guys that build endless loop don't like building Flemish and vice versa, but I have the ability to build both of them just because of necessity. But it's a real easy process, and it doesn't take much. So once you get to a certain point, real quick here, this is where you start tapering stuff out. You heard me talk about that earlier. That taper just makes the string look a little bit aesthetically pleasing. It tapers it out nice and slow into a nice transition. So you usually take out a couple strands like I've done here. So I've got my main blacks over here. I've taken about 3 of the other black out, and I'm just going to retwist it and keep those 3 black out and keep on going down. So it's reducing my overall diameter as I'm twisting it down. So it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it gets down to the load carrying strands, right? Usually those load carrying strands are what's actually holding the bow together and goes from point A to point B.
Cool. All right. I'm looking to see if we got any questions from the audience. I don't see any. Do you want to give a conclusion or?
Well, if there's any other questions that you have about archery that we could talk about and answer for you, that shouldn't be no problem.
No, I just think it's great, man. Let me tell you, it's great to have you because I've already learned a lot just from talking to prepare for this, and then watching your TikTok channel is amazing, man. So
I appreciate that, man. I put a lot of effort into the videos and the quality of editing and stuff like that. I know it's impossible to try to get it done in one go, and it takes a little bit of time and patience on that too.
Yeah, sure. Pop your details up. You want to talk about your website, your emails, and your social?
Yeah, so our website's where you can go in to place your generic orders. We have anything from custom builds to pre-built strings and for your recurves and longbows. I don't have any pre-built for compounds. Just because that's a lot of money to invest into something to sit on the shelf. Trad strings usually sell and move a little bit easier. So I don't do pre-builds in compounds. So you'll have to do a custom order for that. Do all your order placing directly on our website. If you have any questions, if you're having difficulty getting the color combinations that you're wanting or something like that, you can definitely email us. If you're going to, have questions about material differences and, colors or availability, email us. I would definitely discourage anybody from trying to place a order through email. There's so much going on in that email. I don't have the time to look into them and chase back through all the little fine details, message after message after message. So usually if you send an order through our email, it's going to pretty much be denied. I hate saying it just because of what it is. I've got a lot going on and I can't juggle 3 different sources to take in orders. It's easier just go through my website, and my email is strictly for questions and help. And of course, social media. I'm pretty heavy on TikTok right now, just because it's showing me the better analytics than any other source right this moment. YouTube's a little bit on the slower side for my analytics, but typically TikTok's where I'm at the majority of the time, and Instagram. And everything gets automatically shared over from Instagram to Facebook. So it links itself. So if there's anything different that you don't see on my social media, it's on my YouTube for sure. All my tutorials, anything how to, any of the longer videos are based on the YouTube.
Okay. Well, you guys, thanks for coming in today, and thanks for being Roy. Hell of a guest, brother. Hell of a guest.
I appreciate you having me, Troy. This has been a fantastic opportunity, brother.
I look forward to our next one. You can get a little more technical in the next one.
Yeah, man, we can.
We'll get
down that rabbit hole.
get them with a small hook, and then then start yanking on a little bit. We'll get some people more into it.
Yeah, man.
I just can't believe that my first guest on this platform, just what I was looking for, brother. Just what I was looking for. So,
well, I'm glad you guys could have me, and I can help you out with this show and be able to contribute to the growth of the sport and our industry, man.
Now, is that your shop behind you there?
Yeah, man. This is my shop down here in my basement in my house. I build all my strings here. This is just a small portion of it. I actually have my main jigs and tables over here. But the main jigs and tables are for my stretching and my twisting and my serving. And up here is just pretty much my storage for my materials and my bow press itself. So I can have the ability to, work on your compound if you're wanting a set of strings and cables and you're local, something like that. I can definitely take care of you. And I also offer a ship service and ship. I guess you would say very detailed service, because if you would like, you can send me your compound from wherever you are, ship it to me, right? Comes to me, I will completely disassemble it, clean it, lube it, right? Put it all back together with a brand new set of strings and cables, tune that bow to the arrows that you've provided, right? And I'll package it back up and send it back to you, right? Now, if there are some there can be discrepancies whenever that happens, and usually what is going on is the customer's grip is a little bit off, and they're adding a lot of torque, so they might see something a little bit different, and it requires a little bit of a coaching session, which I'm gladly to help and provide with. But usually, once we get the grip cleaned up, they're getting the same results that I'm getting here back at the shop, and they're happy customers.
So that reminds you guys, my bow, I think I traded snowboards for it. I wanted to get into it. It was a Bear, a Jita or something. And I went and had it dropped off at the shop. They did everything to it. And I fired it a bunch of times. It's never really got into the sport. Yeah. I never had anybody take me under the wing and do it. That's why I'm doing this, you guys. That's why I do these, because I want people to know that there's questions out there. There's people you can get under their wing and learn a lot. Yeah, I didn't have those opportunities. That's why I'm doing this now. But I took mine to the shop. I put a lot of money into it, and I went in there to fire it, and it was all done. I was all happy, and it sounded different. Mm-hmm. I told the guy, I said, something's off. And he said, well, it's all new stuff, and I go, no, there's something else. It had a little hairline crack in it that could be dangerous. Absolutely. And those are important things. I'm glad I was at a shop and the guy that did it's not his fault. It happens. We're all human. Mistakes happen. But yeah, getting your stuff looked at and getting it serviced and letting a pro do it is important. I just happen to have really good ears. They're kind of big. So I caught it,
I had a similar situation actually happen, and it was terrifying. So I had a gentleman, he had bad experiences with another local shop, and he was trying to find a new place, and we did some work on his target bow. He was happy. He brought in a hunting bow because he's trying to get into hunting now. I was like, all right, cool. We can definitely set you up with that. He bought a Bear compound off of Amazon, brought it in, dropped it off, and I started doing work on it because he wanted to do strings and cables, built them up a nice set of strings and cables for it. And sure enough, I'm shooting this thing, and I cannot for the life of me get it to shoot a bullet hole. I can't even get it away from throwing a hatchet through paper. And I was like, man, something's just not right with this bow. Well, someone ran it over with a forklift, and the top side of the riser was so twisted and skewed that I was like this close to having a bow completely destroy itself in my hand. At full draw. Yeah, it was terrifying. Yeah. Like I was just like, oh man. Because once I realized what was happening, I started taking a closer look. There was cracks, and this was on an aluminum bow too. So like, if this breaks, and it comes back at me, and I've been on the bad side of bow failure before. I've been beaten with pretty much a 2x4 at almost 70 pounds right to my face. It wasn't fun, and I didn't want to take any metal to the face either. So you have to be very wary of stuff. You do got to keep an eye and a check on it. It's not perfect. I wish we lived in a perfect world, but we don't. Unfortunately, things
We-
are
we-
meant to happen.
We can't bubble wrap ourselves. Let me tell you.
Nope.
Otherwise, I would. Let me tell you, I come from that background. I come back from rescue and fire and safety.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Being as
that's
safe as
why
possible.
that's why I brought up the safety glasses. The safety glasses, how thick they got to be? How big? I mean, I want, I'll be out there bubble wrap like the Michelin man,
Yeah.
But,
Usually there are some things that do happen from time to time. Manufacturer defects happen. It's just name of the game, unfortunately. But usually those instances that there are failures, you're pretty safe. I haven't seen anything terribly bad in a long time. But yet again, I've been surprised the next day.
right. There's always surprises. Well, hey, good talking to you, brother. And
Thank you, Troy.
let me just plug my
Yeah, man, plug you in.
My info here, you guys. There's my info. I'm able to be reached on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok too. TikTok's a plethora of information out there, you guys. You got to stay on the good side of TikTok though.
Yep.
And then Instagram. On my website, it's www.BajaTroyProductReviews.com, and that's my actual website. That's where I have products you can actually purchase. I do have some affiliate links on there that take you to the fishing, and then Raven crossbows. We'll get into those later on.
Great company, man.
Yeah. So have a look at that website. Appreciate it, and man, come back. And if you got anybody that wants to come on the podcast and share some a plethora of information for the world to see, man, this is the place to go to Troyland out here in Baja Troy's Product Reviews. So nice having you guys come in as guests today, and you guys follow our guest, his product and his adventures. So
thank you guys so much for being here. This was fantastic. This was one of the best opportunities I've had in a long time.
All right, brother. I'll call you on the phone.
Appreciate it, Troy.
All right.